The morning began like any other. A new day in the suburbs. Quiet streets, children getting ready for school, adults preparing for work. But beneath that ordinary calm, something was wrong. It started with a child, a healthy young girl. She took a familiar pill for routine pain, a simple, trusted medicine, and she fell to the floor. No warning, no clue, just silence where normal life used to be. In the hospital, doctors tried to help. They worked with urgency, precision, hope. But hope slipped away. She died. That shouldn't happen from a pain reliever. Not in America, not in 1982. But it did. And then it happened again. And again. In the days that followed, 7 people would die, all from the same cause, all after taking the same brand of medicine, Tylenol capsules, capsules that had been tampered with, filled with cyanide, a poison deadly even in small amounts. The nation stood still. A product trusted in millions of homes had become a weapon. Authorities scrambled. Hospitals alerted other clinicians. Police searched for patterns, for clues, for someone, anyone who would explain why this was happening. Every lead was followed, every bottle examined, every memory recorded, interpolated, checked again. But the trail went cold. A letter arrived at the headquarters of a major company. It claimed responsibility. It demanded money, a ransom to stop the killings, $1 million. The FBI took it seriously. They traced it. They analyzed it. They followed every possible thread. But in the end, they arrested a suspect not for murder, but for extortion. He had sent the letter, but there was no conviction for the poisonings themselves. The case became a riddle, a nightmare that spread beyond the grief of families. It shook confidence in everyday life, in medicine cabinets, in safety seals, in trust. Stores pulled products off shelves. The company issued an unprecedented recall. It was the largest in history at that time. Tamper-evident packaging became the new standard. Safety seals we now take for granted were born from this tragedy. Yet even with all that change, the central question remained unanswered.
Who did this? What drove them to choose ordinary people, innocent strangers, as targets? Investigators examined the bottles. They traced distribution routes. They looked for patterns in geography, in timing, in labels, but nothing conclusive emerged. The victims came from different places, different ages, different lives, yet they shared that one fatal act of opening a bottle, of placing trust in something familiar. People remember the dates, the headlines, the panic. Shoppers inspecting every bottle, parents checking labels before giving a child a simple pill. And behind that fear, the mystery endured. There was no confession, no body to connect to an accused, no captured suspect standing trial. Only questions. Questions that echoed decades later. Was it a single person, or more than one? Did they act out of hatred, revenge, chaos, or something more calculated? Something methodical, cold, detached. Some theories focused on the extortion letter, the way it was written, the demands it made. Could one person commit all of it, poison multiple bottles, distribute them, time the poisonings? Or was it staged to look that way? Or was the letter a diversion? Investigators weighed every possibility. They measured timelines. They checked product batches, locations of deaths. Still no answer. Experts in forensic toxicology studied cyanide signatures. Chemists analyzed contamination points, but nothing pointed to a clear suspect. To this day, no one has been convicted of the actual poisonings. No definitive perpetrator has been named. That absence is the heart of the mystery. In the years that followed, The story of those days became part of the American consciousness, a lesson in caution, a reminder of the fragility beneath our routines. Decades later, storytellers returned to the case, documentarians, journalists, filmmakers. They interviewed families of the victims, experts in law enforcement, those who remember where they were when the headlines broke. Their voices carry the weight of unanswered questions, of grief unclosed, of uncertainty that never fully eases. Some say the truth may still be uncovered, old evidence re-examined with new tools, new science applied to aged clues. Others accept that not all mysteries are solved, not all killers are found. Not all questions have answers. Some stories remain open, unfinished, unresolved. And every time someone opens a bottle or picks up a familiar package, a memory flickers. Of that winter more than 40 years ago, of ordinary mornings turned tragic, of a safety we no longer take for granted, and of the unknown force that changed all of that. The Tylenol murders. A crime that altered lives, a mystery that endures, a question without a name. It is not just a story of death, it is the story of how one moment can ripple through a nation, can reshape an industry, can leave an entire society asking, who did this, and why? And still, there is no answer.